please. Okay. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Polkadot broadcast. It's our monthly roundtable, and at each of the months, we will, have a recap of the months. We will invite some guests to, talk about some burning topics about their project, and the Polkadot ecosystem. So in this episode, we have Max from HIC and Junior Joe from Papermoon and Chris from Open Guild, and he will join us soon. And on this episode, we will touch on the investment, the Vietnam, the reEVM progress, and so. Firstly, I would invite two of you guys to have a brief introduction of yourself. Who want to start first?
Sure, I can go first. Hello, everybody. Always a pleasure to be on the Polka World podcast. I'm Max from Harbor Industrial, but also from Polka Port East. And I think today we'll also speak quite a lot about Polka Port East. That's the other hat that I am wearing here in the Polkadot ecosystem, because we actually have some pretty exciting announcements that came out of Polka Port East. So I'll be excited to share them here in this broadcast.
Yeah, welcome, Max. And now let's welcome Junius Joe.
Yeah, hi, hello everyone. I'm Julius from Papermoon. So I'm dev rel for Papermoon. So in Papermoon, we are mainly focused on doing the dev rel work for parity, and also maintain the documentation for developers. Today I will share some updates and what happened in this month.
Okay, cool. Welcome, you guys. And to kick things off, I think first we can touch on the updates of each project. First, let's start from Max. And there's a lot of progress in HIC, and we already see a lot of announcement. And I think the community is very curious about each announcement and what benefits behind that. And first is that Polka Port East and become first blockchain ecosystem to be designated strategic enterprise in Hong Kong. And what is a strategic enterprise, and what does that mean, and what benefits it can bring to Polkadot ecosystem? Can you elaborate it to our audience?
Yes, absolutely. Very happy to talk about that. So Polka Port East has really been pushing this particular initiative for a long time now. We've been working on it for easily a year, arguably longer, to get to this strategic enterprise status. In Chinese, it's called 重点企业, and it's like it's a designation under the Hong Kong Financial Secretary, which is essentially like the finance minister of Hong Kong. And they have like a department which is called OASIS, which stands for the Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises to Hong Kong. And it's essentially enterprises that have been designated by the Department of the Financial Secretary to be of particular strategic importance to Hong Kong and the development of Hong Kong, the tech development, the fintech, the technology development of Hong Kong. And therefore, this department is paying particular attention to them, is supporting them through like networking opportunities, through access to government officials, to policy planning, right? Policy consultation. And it's a very prestigious program, to be honest. So, I mean, for context, right, there are some very well-established companies that are in this program as well. I don't know, ARM, for example, like the chip manufacturer is in there. There is GSK, like the drug company, in there. Now in this cohort, there's also Xiaohongshu, right? The Red Note, you know, very large like social media enterprise joined there as well. There are also like some of the more established, you know, sort of telcos. So I think China Telecom or Unicom, I think, is in there. Some of the really big, like very well established enterprises. And, you know, not everyone gets into this program, obviously, right? It's a highly selective process. And it's really that you have to make the case that this particular enterprise is strategic, that it is in the interest of Hong Kong to set up shop, and, you know, be part of this ecosystem here and get access to these pretty unique networking opportunities. So together with Vincent and Thibault, my co-founders of Polkadot East, we've been, you know, working with the government, the Hong Kong government, to get to this status. And quite recently, so I think 2 weeks ago or so, we had like the official signing ceremony, which was, you know, at the LegCo, at the government office, the main government office of Hong Kong, where we were invited alongside like all the other like senior representatives to the signing ceremony, right, and officially become part of it. So I mean, yeah, let me say maybe one or two more words about the signing ceremony, because it was actually quite interesting. From the Polkadot side, we actually had like Kenneth, who is like a Web3 Foundation Council member, come out to support Polkadot, or to represent Polkadot on stage. So I think that was really great of him. He flew to Hong Kong all the way from the UK just for this event. I think it also kind of shows you that, you know, from Polkadot's perspective, this is an opportunity that is being taken seriously. That, you know, they also sort of see Hong Kong as a really a strategic city here, to do all these things, to put in this like the resources here that are necessary, and also like have the people, you know, come out, represent Polkadot, and like take advantage of these opportunities that this partnership represents. So I think this is really great to have this support from Polkadot senior management. And then also, I think one more interesting thing, right, is kind of the way we decided to set this up, right? It's more like just
this is
telling
what
you like
I'm going to. This is what I'm going to.
You can ask a question about it as well.
No, it's like, you know, Polkadot is a blockchain. How do you manage it to make that happen as a enterprise?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was indeed something that we were struggling with at the beginning, because the government, I mean, imagine we're talking about the Hong Kong government here. They're, of course, you know, got a more traditional like mindset and so on. And so when we first said like, well, Polkadot is like an open, decentralized, permissionless system, they were like, okay, great. But so who do we sign the contract with, right? Like, what's the name of the entity? And we were like, well, we don't really have an entity, right? I mean, we have the Web3 Foundation, but that's the foundation. And we have Parity, that's a tech development team. But neither of them really like represents the Polkadot blockchain. Yeah. And so we did quite a lot of like back and forth and like thinking about what's the best way to approach it, until we realized that there is this Polkadot Community Foundation, which is a pretty unique entity in many ways, because the Polkadot Community Foundation is a Cayman company that, based on its bylaws, represents. So if the DAO makes a decision, right, then the Cayman Community Foundation executes that in the real world, right? So it's kind of a spokes vehicle for the Polkadot DAO. So it's been used for like a couple of other things as well in the past, right? You know, don't need to go into that, but we figured that's actually like a very nice way to really represent a blockchain, a DAO, in like a real world setting, right? Such as literally signing a contract or like an agreement with a government, right? So you have quite a new setup here. You have like a blockchain and a government entering into like a strategic cooperation agreement, which is something that we haven't really seen before. So maybe a couple of months ago, right, we launched like a proposal on chain, which was called asking the PCF to establish a subsidiary in Hong Kong and sign this contract with the government. And then it was voted on and it was approved, right? So the DAO approved it. The DAO says, yes, we want to enter into this partnership with Hong Kong. And then as a result of that, the PCF established this subsidiary in Hong Kong because we needed a Hong Kong subsidiary, right? The Hong Kong government doesn't want to sign anything with an overseas company, but they want to sign it with a local subsidiary in Hong Kong. And we've done that, right? Set up the company, and now, as of like roughly 2 weeks ago or so, entered into this new contract, with the Hong Kong government. So that's it, right? And we're quite excited to have this finally done. And I think it's gonna open up a lot of like new growth opportunities for Hong Kong, for Polkadot in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Also set up an example like how Web3 ecosystems cooperate with Web2 companies or government. It's a very good example.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, we
Hello,
just
guys.
get started. Yeah, we just get started. And how about you briefly introduce yourself to our audience? Then we can continue.
Yeah. Nice to meet you guys. So this is the first time I came to Polka World's interview, right? And basically, I have been in the ecosystem for a while, and we know each other. Most of the people here. So basically, myself, I'm working with OpenGill. Is a builder communities that we focusing on South Asia market. We do meetup events, hackathon, bootcamp, etc. to educate builders in the regions about like all the tech stack of Polkadot. But recently we having the deep more focus in terms of get more builders for Polkadot Hub. Trying to get a lot of parties application for the Web3 Foundation grant, and also the 5 builder ramp from Velocity Labs as well. So actually, yesterday was really good news that one of the projects that I'm onboarding got approved by the 5 builder ramps. One of the 5 teams, over 80 application of the programs. Which is a good news for us as well. So yeah, I mean, basically that very short introduction about ourselves. We have been done this thing for like in the last 2 years.
Yeah, welcome, Chris. And later we prepare some questions. Collect some questions from the community for Chris, and we can talk in detail later. Now let's move on to Max. And also HIC announced a very important investment this month. Tell us more about this. What they are, the rationale behind them.
Absolutely, yeah. So until now, I was talking about Polkadot East, which is one of my hats, and the other hat is obviously HIC. And yes, you're absolutely right. We made 3 investments and we announced 2 of them. So that means like 1/3 one is still pending with the announcement, even though the investment has already been made. But there were 2 investments that I can talk about are called Join and Nemus. So yeah, let me talk a little bit about both of them. So first, Join is a very exciting fintech RWA project, in my opinion, coming out of the LATAM space. So it's the first time that we're investing in a LATAM-based project. We're also going to Buenos Aires, by the way, for Sub-Zero in 2 weeks. So kind of having a little bit more of a focus on South America now. We want to do a little bit more in that region as well. And so Join is really like, it's an RWA project and sort of a payment provider for the region, for the South America region. It has a focus on like remittances payments, which is really big there and really important. But rather than just like sending money overseas, it also allows you to like invest in all kind of RWAs. Most obviously treasury bonds, like tokenized US treasury bonds, which isn't like, rocket science at this point anymore, but it's actually like a pretty straightforward and a pretty useful way of, getting like exposure to something that like a very, and obviously very large and very well-known type of asset, which used to be quite difficult to get access to if you're not like sitting in the US and have access to these kind of dealings, right? So tokenized treasury bonds, just buying them in your app, or like sending remittances cross borders in South America, integrated with all kind of on-ramps, off-ramps in the region. So I think it's really cool. The founder also really convinced us. He's actually the former founder of what used to be South America's largest Bitcoin mining operation. So they have some really good track record actually there. I don't think they're doing mining anymore at the moment, but that's kind of how they got started. And they were really huge at some point. And they were also running like a very large crypto exchange in Venezuela before they got shut down by the government, because the government in Venezuela isn't too keen on crypto exchanges, so they shut them down. But all the investors were made whole. They returned their money, and now they kind of got into like a new project, and they decided to build on Polkadot, right? Which is obviously a condition for us. We wouldn't invest in anything that does not build on Polkadot. We met them actually through the Sidetail / no, I'm blanking on the word. Like an accelerator in Switzerland. Oh, Polymac, sorry. Yeah, Sidetail's Polymac when they were still like up and running, right? Back in the days. When they were still up and running, they organized like an accelerator, and we were there as well, and that's how we got to know them, and then decided to invest. So that's investment number one. So that's announced already, and the investment number two that we just announced, like I think a week ago, less than a week ago, is a company called Nemus. It's spelled with the letter 3 instead of the E, N3MUS. And it's a very different kind of company, very different from the first one. But I also really like them because what they are doing is they are a player acquisition platform for Web3 games. And they do that through like a tournament leaderboard to get like players, like Web3 players, like into games. Because obviously, what is the one thing that every Web3 game wants, right? It's more players, right? And so they kind of they sit a little bit like in the middle there, right? Like call it like a middleware for player acquisition. And they do a really good job in that, and they've seen like massive growth. I don't know off the top of my head the exact numbers, but look it up. It's like a very, very, very impressive growth trajectory, and they're also building on Polkadot. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, how do they grab users? Yeah, how do they attract users?
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically through a tournament style leaderboard, right? So they create these leaderboards where they also like hand out tokens as rewards, some of their own tokens, and sort of getting people like hooked through one game, but then also getting them play another game from different developers. And that's a pretty cool niche, in my opinion. And they were doing like, sort of multi-chain in general. But because of our investment and because of the conversations they have had with us, they're now also like building on they're building on Polkadot, right? They're gonna have their central smart contract repository on Polkadot, right? And that's something that I'm quite excited about because it's one of the things that has like a lot of growth potential, right? If you want to see like more transactions coming on Polkadot, then this kind of like Web3 gamer onboarding journey is a very important one, and I think they really nailed it. It's a team based out of the Netherlands, and met them a few times now, and quite recently announced our investment there. So it's also something that I'm quite excited about. Gaming in Polkadot is, I mean, there's some interesting announcement that we can also talk about if you like, which is Mythical, right? And what is Mythical doing next, right? They announced a new partnership with WorldCoin. It just came out today. So different people have different views on that. How bullish or bearish is that for Polkadot? I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion now. But what I want to say is that when it comes to gaming on Polkadot, I think we should diversify, right? We shouldn't like rely on one single entity, such as Mythical Games. And I think with Nemus, with this like kind of player acquisition platform, right? Linking into like all kind of smaller, more like indie kind of games, but still some pretty big ones with fast growth trajectories, is like the way to go, right? So it's an investment that I'm quite excited about, and I think we're gonna hear more about them.
Okay,
so,
cool.
That's it.
Okay, cool. I think Mythos got very famous, got very popular because I did a broadcast in Chinese yesterday, and there are users left message or left comment on, I already played the FIFA Rival and I already played the Pongju games. I'm very surprised. So Mythos is really doing a very great job. And also the two projects you invested are great as well. Hope that they can bring more users to Polkadot. Okay, the last one is the upcoming Hong Kong FinTech Week, because Polkadot is going to Hong Kong to support this as well. So could you tell us more background of this event? And do you think it's a FinTech submit? And do you think blockchain project like Polkadot will be a major focus there, or?
That's a great question. And I think it's really important for Polkadot to go to some of the more traditional like fintech events rather than just the crypto events, right? I mean, yes, sure, Token 49, like these kind of things, you kind of purely have like the crypto bubble, which, is fine, but it's not the end of it, right? There are also a lot of like more traditional like fintech events or like, more tech events, let's say, or also finance events. I think it's quite important to, be there for Polkadot, and the one in Hong Kong is really big. It's a massive event. I mean, you have like some of the traditional players there. You have, I don't know, the big banks showing up there and having a stand, right? And presenting their fintech products and so on. And Polkadot is actually like not the only crypto company, but I mean, there are quite a few other ones as well that will be there, but it's definitely standing out in terms of, one of the, sort of the base layer blockchains that will be there. Now, this is something that we're also organizing through Polkaport East, and it's supported by the Events Bounty. And since we've got you two here, Kristen and Kristen and Chris from Open Guild, this is also like really a regional effort because Kristen, you will be coming in person, so we're excited to having you there. Chris is not coming, but he's instead Patricia from exactly Patricia from Open Guild will be coming, right? So representing Open Guild there, which is also amazing. And we a few other like APAC based teams will be there. It's a pretty big event, and I think it really opens up a lot of like new growth opportunities for Polkadot in Hong Kong and in the region, and especially like now that we have the new Oasis partnership secured, right? We're also using FinTech Week to promote that. So Vincent is going to be on a panel with an Oasis representative and a Cyberport representative, right? This is all Hong Kong government. So I think it's really, really cool that at this event, right? I mean, Paul Chan, the financial secretary, will be also there to, you know, deliver the opening remarks. At this kind of event, right? We are there on a panel together with like representative of the Hong Kong government to, you know, speak about Polkadot, right? And all the great things that it's enabling. So, you know, I think this is an amazing opportunity to just showcase Polkadot. I will be on a VC panel there as well. So together with a bunch of other VCs from the region, discussing about like sort of investment opportunities in the space, where obviously like I will be beating the drum about Polkadot, right? And talking about all the great opportunities there from an investment perspective. And yeah, excited to have you guys there. And I think it's going to be a pretty exciting week next week in Hong Kong.
Yeah, okay, very looking forward to it. Okay, thanks, Max. Now let's move to juniors to share with us some updates about Papermoon's work. And first, I think there's a major updates in Polkadot ecosystem, which is the elastic scaling. You know, it's officially gone live on Polkadot, and which means that Polkadot 2.0 is completed, and all the three major marks are you know are completed. So in theory, the performance of application built on Polkadot has been a major leap forward with recent updates. So could you elaborate to us that, you know, how much has the network's speed and efficiency actually improved compared to before? And how does Polkadot now compare with so-called faster chains like Solana?
Yeah, according to the plan, the elastic scaling will be online in Polkadot maybe next month. So after this done, that means the whole Polkadot 2.0, the whole project is completed and deployed. I think there are a lot of improvement in the performance efficiency for the whole network. At first, I'd like to recap all the three major features in Polkadot 2.0. The first one is async backing. So without this feature in Polkadot 1.0, the parachain will produce a block, then waiting for the relay chain included in the relay chain block. Then after it's confirmed, then start to prepare the next block in parachain side. So async is fix this issue. We don't need waiting for each other. The second one, of course, the most important thing is the agile call time, and that means we don't need to buy a slot for a very long time. You can buy a call time, maybe just lasting for 1 week or 1 month. That's greatly reducing the cost for any project deployed in Kusama or Polkadot. Of course, last one is elastic scaling. So based on the call time, you can buy some extra resource or extra cost if your application has some, for example, high traffic for some reason. So after all those things done, I think that means the whole system have a big improvement in the efficiency. According to some tests before in the Kusama, we can see the TPS is around 500,000 maybe. I don't know if I remember the number correctly. But for the users, maybe they don't see the big difference, because now we just complete the building of a basic layer, the infrastructure. Next, after we build something like the tools and the primitive and VM, then the user start to build something, they will experience the big difference. How is different with in Polkadot 1.0?
Okay, okay. And in what ways that this performance updates lay the groundwork for the future development across the Polkadot ecosystem?
Yeah, as I said, this is a like infrastructure and the base layer for the whole network, include the parachain or roll up or applications. So I like to say everything is about the infrastructure is ready. Based on those infrastructure, you can build any efficient applications. But I think most important thing is next step. Next step, we need to build some tools, SDK, and also integrate the virtual machine for the smart contract and some other stuff for example, the basic library or primitive to support special application like zero knowledge. So I think that's the most important thing because the builders can see this feature deployed. Like I mentioned, three major features, but they can't experience the difference. So next step, we will build those things I mentioned, like a middleware. After they have those tools, have those middleware, they can really build some interesting applications. So that's why from a user, maybe they can't see any big difference. But if you understand the architecture of a blockchain, you know that's really a big improvement because you can understand how difficult you sync up two blockchain systems. One is a relay chain, one is in the parachain or roll up in an async way. That's a very big technical challenge. After we fix this issue, this feature is available, then I think maybe every application can't be built before will be possible in Polkadot 2.0.
Okay, I think the groundwork is always the hardest part of everything, but once it was laid out, and everything else will be very quick and very solid. So yeah, and so I think the reEVM is going to deploy on Kusama soon, and I think there are a lot of new new users or audience come to our broadcast. So I think it's worth to elaborate or introduce to them, what exactly is reEVM and what does it bring to Polkadot and how does it differ from EVM and the PVM. So could you share more information about that?
Sure. Actually, EVM is a virtual machine, so it's like a specification to define what kind of instructions will be executed in the virtual machine and how executed, how to charge the gas from the user. It's like a white paper. So, but reEVM is a software, it's an implementation based on the EVM specification. Now reEVM actually is the most popular implementation in the Ethereum ecosystem. So that's why Polkadot also introduced it into our Polkadot hub. And in Papermoon, we also focused on the testing of reEVM now. And the PVM is a different specification based on different instruction. So it's based on the RISC-V. And maybe some other ecosystem like Ethereum also explore how to change their virtual machine, because EVM is a very low efficient. If you build some computing immerse, then you will cost a lot for gas to pay a lot for token. So that's why actually the PVM is the first virtual machine introduced and implemented in the Polkadot. But later, we also decided to integrate reEVM. Later, I will share the story how we have this kind of strategy.
Yeah, I think the major progress on Polkadot on October is, the asset hub migration, both on the Kusama and Polkadot, and also the reEVM migration. But it was announced that to be happen on late of October, but it's already the last day of October. It is obvious delayed. So could you tell us, why it is delayed and when it can be delivered? And also we can tell us more about, what kind of work has Papermoon been doing to support these major updates?
Yeah. So I remember I joined the podcast first time I shared this information. The PVM will be delivered this month, right? But later, we just switched our strategy to more focus on the reEVM. The story is like this. So actually, several months ago, we started to test the PVM in the Papermoon. We already verified us for famous projects like Uniswap, OpenZeppelin, Multisig. Actually, the test result is very good. All those applications can be migrated to the PVM, and most of test cases are passed based on our test result. But we also, at the same time, we also reached out to some projects. They intended to migrate to the PVM, but we found out some issue is some project maybe depends on some library implement with a very old Solidity version. So in the PVM, we have some difficulty to convert those old instructions from EVM instruction to the RISC-V. So that's why for those projects, they need to do a lot of actual effort. Then they can migrate from current Solidity code to be compatible with PVM. So that's why later we discussed with parity contract team. They decided also introduce the reEVM because reEVM is 100% compatible with EVM. If one project deployed to the REM in Polkadot, they don't need any code change in theory. So from I think maybe 2 months ago, we just switched our focus from PVM to reEVM testing. And now we already verified a lot of projects, like some project I mentioned before, Uniswap V2 Core, V2 Periphery, Uniswap V3, Multisig, OpenZeppelin. The test is, I mean, the result is very exciting. I know most of the test cases are passed. Now we are at the final phase of this delivery. From last week, as I remembered, the parity contract team just working on the feature to optimize the gas. So after this one is delivered, we will expect maybe it will on Kusama early next month, I guess. That's my optimistic estimation. So, but it's not very easy, and also important because in Polkadot SDK, POS system, we choose different get system, except and instruction execution. We also need to consider the storage. So that's why the get optimization is very important, and we must do it before final delivery. Yeah, that's the whole story about why we have PVM, reEVM, and then reEVM will have a higher priority for Polkadot Hub.
Okay, thanks for the sharing, and those are great updates that the community is asking for. Thank you. Okay, now let's move to Chris, and welcome, Chris. And very happy to have you here today. And even though we met offline for many times,
Yeah.
but it's your first time that we invite you to our broadcast.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think why not firstly introduce what Open Guild is working on, and as well as some of the past achievement
Right.
Open Guild has achieved to give some contest information to our
Right.
audience.
Yeah. So for OpenGIL itself, right now our team's focus is to prepare for the let's say it's a build-a-thon that we are working with Web3 Foundation strategically in Q1 to 2026. That I believe that I already told Polkadot teams before to helping us to promote in APAC, right? So it will be a very dedicated campaign that focusing on APAC market to attract more EVM Asian builders to come to Polkadot to testing out the EVM environment on Polkadot itself, on Polkadot Hub, right? And also like building different types of consumer apps on the chains, and it will probably launching in the end of February until March, right? In 2026. So right now we trying to pushing we trying to do a little bit different, is that we not just focusing on workshop and track like doing track with ecosystem teams, but we also invite more external partners from AI, from business, from different marketing teams in external tech landscape to helping us doing workshop marketing, etc., to reach to more Web2 developer as well. The second focus of OpenGIL right now is that we are pushing forward with like helping a lot of teams to acquire resources from the foundations, like funding, like it's very small funding, but also pushing marketings and support, etc., to build like proof of concept, prepare for Polkadot Hub launch. So right now there are a few products, right? One of the teams building social payment, which is an app that only allow you to transfer USDTs and using social login for creating account, right? So what you can do is that you can just going out buying something and then just pay by the apps, and it's automatically convert to, let's say in Vietnam it should convert into Vietnam dong, right? And everything is very seamlessly, but it's only allowed stablecoin though. I mean, we they don't really want to do with any other cryptos, yeah. But it will be on Polkadot Hub, so yeah, it's still good, right? And second project is that so yesterday there's a project got approved by the 5 builder programs by Velocity Labs. It's one of the 5 teams that being approved for the first cohort, and they building customized prediction market, right? So basically user can create their own prediction market, but because to make sure the liquidities will be stable during when the market launch. So it will be use the bonding curve mechanism to make sure that people, the creators of the market we'll have to bond some sort of liquidities inside the market to make sure that everyone can trade stably, right? And the last projects that there are not a few projects, but the good projects that we are happening right now is another one is doing relating to dynamic micropay, right? And they're basically doing agentic payment protocols using Hyperbridge as the connectors between Polkadot with all the EVM chains. Basically, it's allow X402 Meta recently, right? Basically, they're doing that, and they're using Polkadot as the settlement layer. Yeah. So we trying to have them in different paths to acquire, like small funding to, like build their own proof of concept and prepare for the Polkadot full commercial launch. And we'll work with all the key partners to pushing forward for the go to market, etc. Yeah. So that would be OpenGill focus. Like first of all, helping team to acquire fund. Secondly, is focusing on prepare for the build-a-thon, right, in Q1. Yeah.
Yeah, these are all the very important contributions to the Polkadot ecosystem. Okay, talking about Vietnam, we are curious about Vietnam market. It's like, everyone meet me, will ask me, what's the Chinese market look like? So I want to ask you that, what's the Vietnam market look like? The block vibe, the vibe and what landscape like there, and who are the main participants?
Okay. So there is good news and bad news, right? About Vietnamese. So the good news is that first of all about a user, it has been sparkling up in the last 3 years, right? Right now we have based on gen analysis report, I believe that it might be a little bit too high or over. They kind of overrated the amount. Like they claim that Vietnam have 20 million crypto users, right? But I think that is too many, right? So I let's say it should be around half of that. Let's say 10 to 15 million crypto user. However, it has been pumping because in 2021 we have the GameFi wave, right? We have like AC Infinities, which also created by Vietnamese teams, and a lot of because of that, a lot of users came for the GameFi booms, and including myself, right? I came to crypto because of GameFi, and also the AC Infinity is also inspiring a lot of teams building their own GameFi products or maybe other crypto products as well, which also like basically indirectly impact to how people transferring converting from playing traditional games to Web3 games, right? So there are a lot of people starting to have their own cryptos wallet, use very small minimum amounts. I mean, like 10 million crypto users doesn't mean that there will be a lot of volumes. There will be a lot of let's say like the amount of crypto they hold, right? Because they playing games, and they basically we considering that, let's say one person, one user holding, let's say $10 in the wallet is already one user, right? So I would say that we have a lot of user, a lot of projects in the world that come into Vietnam because of the data, and they can get a lot of transaction here, but doesn't mean that it will be generated a lot of volume, right? But still, I mean, if you look on the positive side, then like how blockchain work, right? How blockchain generating revenue, generating revenue by attracting more transaction, right? So a lot of user meaning a lot of transaction and generating a lot of fees, which is good for the project itself. So it's still it's still positive in generally, and secondly for the builder side, right? As I mentioned, because we have a lot of inspiration, like development from security before. So there are a lot of shift from Web 2 development to Web 3. And, in Vietnam, there are like 500 development studios in here. There are a few big names like Solartex, or maybe like, IT Lab, etc. They have like 2,000 developer Vietnamese in their companies, and they build a lot of products. And there are, definitely there are two big companies that also repairing. Currently, I'm working with Web3 Foundation to building on Polkadot as well when Polkadot launch. But basically, thing not yet happened because still waiting for the full commercial launch. Then I will keep it for now. However, there are a few other protocols that really big in Vietnam, like Con98, Carbon Network, Pendo Finance. They are all Vietnamese teams, and they has been, most of the projects already build a billion valuations, and they basically inspire a lot of builders to coming here. And secondly is that because of in Vietnam there is a city called Da Nang, right? And basically it's like Miami of Vietnam's, and people builders who are nomad coming from Bali or Thailand. They they kind of boring of those market, and they saw that the opportunities in Da Nang, and Da Nang government itself also have some sort of stimulus strategies that they provide free tax for new tech startup, or startup organized in Da Nang, right? And then a lot of foreigners, a lot of foreign builders coming here to start their own tech teams and building on Web3 as well. And basically, for myself, I'm also trying to go to Da Nang usually to talk to the government bodies to explore how Polkadot can be in support there as well. But right now, I would say about the bad thing later, which is my right now impact the the process. Yeah. So the last one is about the regulation, right? So that this might be a bad thing, but also the good thing as well. So generally, because recently in July 2025, Vietnam now already has the clear rules about crypto and digital assets. Right? Before that, it was in a raison, and it's not illegal, but it's just not yet recognized. Right? But for now, it's already it has very strong mechanism as as the properties and ownerships. Basically, in the law, you can understand this like digital assets are real properties, like owning a house or a car, etc. Right? And that's why every tokenized access need to have license, need to pay tax, etc. Right? And last month, the government already launched the 5 years pilot program to test a legal crypto market. So basically, the goal is to protect people, stopping scam, etc. Right? So in that pilot, only licensed companies can run exchange, central exchange, or maybe creating token, right? And so there will be two sides. So for the bad side, to get a license, you need to have $20 million. Yeah, with a very strong securities and clear record, right? For now, only 5 licenses has been giving out, and most of them are from big banks, right? So these banks trying to build their own chains, or maybe like building their own centralized chain as well. And also, because of Binance, because of Bybit, and all the global centralized chain, they don't really want to invest $20 million into to do themselves. So that's why let's say Binance, Bybit, and a bit recently officially investing into those projects with big bank in Vietnam, and they build, let's say, a joint ventures together to build centralized chain. Instead up, they will pay the whole license themselves. Yeah, so it's basically they're giving the ownership, like they're creating a new, let's say, Binance Vietnam, but it's will owned by Binance and let's say a bank in Vietnam. You know what I mean, right? So basically, it will change a lot of things, right? Because for the bad side is that a lot of teams, small team launching DeFi NFT projects without licensing or launching tokens, they have to choose or to pay those amount, or they need to shut down their operation in Vietnam. But they can still able to do operation outside Vietnam. I mean, but a lot of teams like HyperSwap or maybe CoinNA is already temporarily shut down operation in Vietnam, and but they still open for people in outside Vietnam to use. For example, myself, if I want to use those app, I need to open the VPN, right? So that would be an example. Yeah, but on the positive side, then it's creating more clear rules, creating more safe environments, and then it's help more money, big institution like banking and investor from all the let's say developed countries to push money into Vietnam market to creating more funding, more local project coming here to build officially, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is obvious that Vietnam is a very promising market, but there's some policy limitations. But same as China, I think blockchain is very well recognized in China. Only the tech, by the government, but for the trading and everything else, it's very strict. And now the new policy was released last week to to re-stress their hard attitudes for the crypto exchange and everything else. But luckily for China, we have Hong Kong, and the policy in Hong Kong is much more better than the mainland China.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. Could you tell us how strong is Polkadot's current presence or community in Vietnam?
Also, for Polkadot communities in Vietnam, right? So basically, so based on my observation, and also I going around to talk with a lot of people, and I know that there are a lot of Vietnamese VCs before that invested into Dot, approved platform, etc. And I believe that in Asia, like China and Vietnam, are the biggest holders of Polkadot in Asia market. I would say, like China's and Vietnam's, they has a really big exposure for Polkadot before, and I've seen that right now they are still holding it. I mean, I usually talking to a few people, they. However, the barrier is that the DOT token, they don't really know what how to use with it, because there is a limited utilities for the token itself. So basically, just going to stack into Bifrost, etc., and generating APY from there. But the the builder community in general is currently quite good, to be fair. But there are definitely some bigger synergies from all the chains like Solana, Soy, etc. Right? But Polkadot, they have been waiting for the some sort of a dedicated smart contract environment, and I hope that Polkadot Hub will be a game changer to attract like Vietnamese builder coming back to the chain, like building real products on the chains, and then attracting more users as well. And also based on that, I can help those projects to reaching out to the dot holders to become LP or etc., having more games and creating more utility for the token. But generally, we based on what we did, like creating different event hackathon, etc., and talk with a lot of people. I mean, like they still considering Polkadot as the chain that has been working hard, right? Because there are a lot of like vaporwave chains that creating like better chain, etc. And then they build up, and then they basically drop everything, right? And then they like communities realize that based on the progress of Polkadot, that they don't trying to rock anything, but it has been a big progress coming up with Polkadot, and it's just wasting good times to coming back, and also especially we believe that Polkadot Hub is a good opportunities for that to launch. So that's why even myself, when I talk to a lot of people like that, and I'm pushing OpenGuild team to only focusing on promoting Polkadot Hub. And right now, that is our full dedication. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can feel the different. I can feel some already changed because some of some of my previous colleagues, it's like 8 years colleagues come back to me and they share to me what they're doing or something. When I talk about Polkadot, sometimes I feel like they will say, "Oh, Polkadot is still alive" or something. I was expecting that I would hear the words like this, but their attitude already changed. They say, "Well, Polkadot is actually very great. They are making very important improvements, and they are always evolving." So I think their Polkadot is really coming back soon. Okay, I think to wrap up our conversation, because our time is very limited, so we have a last topic to touch on, and which is we've seen solid technical progress across the Polkadot ecosystem, but many users still say Polkadot feels too slow. These are the words I saw on the comment of my yesterday's broadcast. And the whole page is this match. Polkadot is too slow. I don't see any progress. I think there's a gap. Actually, Polkadot have a lot of progress. So I think it's worth us to explain more to our audience that I would invite each of our guests to share that from your personal, your professional standpoint, and when do you expect Polkadot's next real growth phase to happen? And in that case, community can feel the real progress of Polkadot. So who wanna kick it off first?
Do you want to go first, Max?
No, Chris, you go first.
Okay, so basically, I believe that let's say about jams, right? So jams will be the next 2 or 3 year thing. So we should not waiting for that. And I mean, like we still talking about that, and following the progress of the development of jams. But for myself, that I believe that having a dedicated like smart contract environment, as I keep mentioning in the whole conversation, is that it's very important to attract more builder, because not everyone wants to build on chain, right? Because it's very costly, and also resources, like dedication as well, and launching, spinning up an application and make money with that, and how Polkadot Hub can be very simple for that, then it will be creating a huge comeback for Polkadot, because not everyone come to Polkadot or maybe any other chain because of the logo, right? They come to because they can be able to use their own token to creating use, or maybe like participating into different games, or maybe like they can trading, etc., generating their own revenues, and also like having fun with their friend as well. So I think that having a dedicated environment smart contract, which is Polkadot Hub coming out, will be a huge comeback for Polkadot. So I would say that in Q1, the latest will be early Q2 2026, when let's say a lot of DeFi primitives, or maybe a lot of application launching on Polkadot Hub, and everyone, four of us, let's say OpenGill, PolkaWall, so like PayPal and Hable Industrial Capital as well. We trying to promote this to a lot of builders around the world, and helping them very in fast respond, and helping them to launching on the hub, and then creating their own application. And based on that, the builder themselves, they can promote the application to more users in their communities, which is also benefit for Polkadot, right? Because they generate transaction on Polkadot, and creating fees for the chain, which is creating good momentum for the chain itself.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's coming soon. I think the first half of next year. So what's your point, Juniors and Max?
Yeah, I mean, I can say a few more things as well. I mean, yes, obviously Polkadot Hub is kind of the one to watch, right? That's what everyone is excited about. But actually, I would tackle this this question in a slightly different direction, which is a little bit in response to Gavin's latest speech in Bulgaria, right? At the Bulgaria parity like offsite or retreat. I mean, I think. And I mean, this speech has been made public, right, by the Kuzumarian or the interview there. So I mean, it is quite interesting that parity under Gavin's leadership is going into quite a bit of a different direction now than was kind of the plan over the last couple of years. There's clearly like a new strategic refocusing here. And what it essentially comes down to is like parity building more products in-house, right? And, that's definitely a new thing, right? That's not, if you had asked me like a year ago, right, is that what's going to happen? Like, I think nobody could really like expect it. And now parity is really doubling down on that. And, I think it's in many ways, it's a very positive thing because, whether you like it or not, right, in other ecosystems, they also have like a very, strong core development team that is building cool products, right? And it tends to work, right? I mean, it is, of course, like more of a centralization effort again, but it also works, right? And I think the question here is really like, can parity deliver? And I think they can, right? I mean, Parity is an excellent company. They have a big team already, and I know that they are hiring aggressively as well. So they're bringing good developers directly into Parity, and we'll see like what are like sort of the core products that Gavin identifies as being mission critical. Let's say, right? To what he wants to see, right? And then rather than waiting for some external team to come and build it, right, which kind of was the case with Polkadot in the past, Parity is going to try to build them in-house, right? And if they can deliver on that, I think it's great, right? I mean, as I said, like, what are these products going to be, right? I mean, we'll see, right? I mean, of course, he's dropped some hints. I mean, a lot is sort of around sort of the proof of personhood, both like the system itself and like applications that are getting enabled with that. So I think that's one space to watch out for. I mean, the other thing is kind of the Polkadot app, right? To have like a centralized app. I mean, this app has been under development for a long time. Hopefully, we're gonna see the end of the tunnel here, and see it going to market here in the very foreseeable future. What else? Well, the Polkadot stablecoin, right? That's kind of a very interesting one as well. Like PUSD is kind of the nickname, or USDOT is another nickname. I don't know if the name has actually been finalized yet. So this might be like a product that is like fully collateralized by DOT, but it may also have other assets. Although again, Gavin was a little bit skeptical of having non-Polkadot native assets backing it, including, for example, Bitcoin that is wrapped onto Polkadot, because and I see where he's coming from here, right? Like when he says that sort of the risk of bridging like a non-native asset onto Polkadot in itself could introduce like some critical vulnerabilities to this new stablecoin. And if we go on paying validators in this new Polkadot stablecoin, which in itself I think makes a lot of sense. I think like paying validators in the stablecoin I think is actually a very good idea, right? And it's a great like go-to-market, and it's also a probably much more like economical way of not overpaying for security, right? By like denominating the expenses of the validators in a dollar stablecoin and then using that to pay out. So that is a good idea. Now, how to exactly design this PUSD or whatever it's going to be called, I don't know, right? I'm not like a stablecoin design expert, but I'm pretty sure that they're gonna come up with like a good solution. So I'm not too worried about that. So that's a long way of saying, yes, independent external developers are of course still very much welcome to Polkadot. Let's see, what people end up building. I mean, for us, for Harbor Industrial Capital, we also keep on investing in third-party teams that are building like exciting, unique stuff on Polkadot that is not covered by parity, right? And obviously, that's still a lot of things, right? The things that I just mentioned here, like the RWA in Latin America, right? Or the gamer acquisition platform, right? These are very unique, like specific use cases that take advantage of the Polkadot tech stack, right? So I think there will still be like this space for, these independent developers, let's call them. But having said that, I think, it's pretty clear now beyond like a doubt that parity is gonna take charge here in building great products, shipping them hopefully quickly at a high quality level, right? Maybe that's exactly what we've been missing, right? Maybe we've been missing something like parity going ahead and, delivering these great products. I obviously have my, they've got all my support, right? And it's going to be, a bit of a balance, right? Between like these parity products and the third-party developers, right? From our perspective, from the VC funds, right? I mean, of course, we're going to keep on investing in the third-party developers if they have like an interesting niche, if they have good product market fit, if they're building something that parity is not trying to build themselves, because of course I don't think there's much of a point to compete with parity for products building on Polkadot, right? So I don't think that would be like a sensible competition to go into. It's also not something that I'm personally interested in. But of course, parity cannot cover everything. And for the thing that is, outside of their current scope, but something that still makes commercial sense, right? And that takes advantage of the Polkadot blockchain, we're going to continue investing there.
Okay, cool. Instead of counting on the external developers, and maybe parity can build some flagship apps first. Okay. Last but not least, let's welcome Junis. And is there something else you want to add to this topic?
Yeah, for this question, at first I totally understand why some community people can feel the change or improvement happened in the Polkadot, because in the last 2 years, parity just focused on building some very basic layer things, the infrastructure. So for the developer, they can't directly to experience this kind of new features. That's why we have this kind of feedback from community. Actually, a lot of big things happened, right? For example, you just mentioned the 3 major features in the Polkadot, and also we have the Polkadot Hub, and a lot of palettes migrated from the Kusama, from the Polkadot to the Hub. So actually, a lot of things happened just to be prepared for the next big growth, I think. So back to your question, I think next year, 2026, will be different for the builders to see the Polkadot as a platform. So as Chris just mentioned, a lot of Solidity developer just waiting for the reEVM and the PVM to be ready to be deployed in the Kusama in the Polkadot. Then they can start to build some something like DeFi, like gaming or some other applications in the smart contract. So I think for the community members and developers, I can say except the smart contract, actually we have much more things ready for your to building something. For example, we have efficiency block production. We have cross-chain messaging. We have a bridge, right? We have official bridge to the Ethereum. And what kind of tools also will be ready? For example, we have parity customized hard hat and the foundry remix. And for Pavement, we also have all those kind of documentation is ready for you to take as a reference. So yeah, I really believe next year will be we can see a big growth in the product. That's my point.
Yeah, okay. And I think Polkadot is almost ready, and more people will see what is going to happen on Polkadot very soon. So thanks for sharing. I think that's all for today, and thank you for thank you all the guests for sharing, and thank you for all the audience to for watching today. And we will keep posted for the progress on each of our project, and hope you can come back to Polkadot again. So I think that's all for today, and until next time, bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you in Hong Kong next week. All right.
Yeah, see you
Bye-bye.
soon.
Yeah.
Okay.